Hello, everyone. I am doing a little live stream today in order to play with some new technology that everybody's talking about, and I just haven't really had the time to play around with stuff yet. So the two things I want to try out for today's session are the GitHub Copilot CLI, and I have used this briefly actually when it was not even public, so I used it in preview mode, and I haven't really used it since, but it has been around for 6 months now or something. It's been around for a while. And newer is the GitHub Copilot SDK. And I think this one's really only been around for maybe a month or so. And it is based off of the CLI, right? It's basically a programmatic interface for the CLI. Now, of course, what I use all the time is GitHub Copilot, right? I use that in two contexts. I use that within my, within VS Code. That's the way I use it the most. And I also use that, inside GitHub when I am assigning issues to it, right? You can, if you have an issue, you can go to the issue. Jean's pant, that's a great issue. Let's see, you can go to an issue and then you can assign it to Copilot. And I also have scripts that programmatically assign to Copilot. So I have used GitHub Copilot quite a bit. It is one of my favorite tools. Basically, all my coding now is with Copilot in collaboration. But what I haven't used is the CLI very much at all, and I have not used the SDK whatsoever. All right, I see some folks are streaming in. We got Carlos, we got John, we got folks from LinkedIn as well. Hola, buenos, bienvenidos. All right, welcome everyone. All right, so for those of you in the chat, please do share what experience you have with these tools, if you've been using them for anything interesting, what you like about them, what you don't like about them. I know they're changing all the time, so be good to see. All right, so let's start off with GitHub Copilot. And I don't honestly remember if I even have it installed. As I said, I did install it back when it was in private preview, and I haven't really touched it since. Okay, so we have some options. We're not going to do winget because I'm on a Mac. We've got Homebrew. I don't like Homebrew. It stresses me out because it always tries to upgrade lots of things, and it has to do with beer, and I hate beer. So if I have the option, I'd rather just use the curl script, to be honest. So first I should test to see if I have it. Oh, I was also trying to use WorkIQ, but that'll be in another stream. Okay. So let's see. Do I have Copilot? All right. I do have some version of Copilot. This is 0.263. And now we're on 395. So I'm really behind. So probably I need to do a little upgrade. Let's see. How do I Ctrl+C? Okay, Ctrl+C again. All right. First thing in a CLI, how do you exit? Okay, so you have to press Ctrl+C very rapidly in succession. Ooh, John says, oh yeah, okay, yeah. So we're starting with the CLI, just making sure I have that installed. So let's see, if I run the curl, is that going to upgrade it? Let's find out. All right, downloading for ARM64, looks good. Okay, let's test to see what version we're on right now. So let's see, Copilot help. Okay, that didn't show the version. Let's do Copilot. Now, it still says 0.0263. So I think we're going to Control-C, and maybe we need to, let's see, maybe we need to upgrade that somehow, or maybe when I installed it before. The problem is I don't know how I installed it before. Copilot. Ready? Let's try this. Copilot. Do I trust the files? I don't know if I want it to trust. Okay. All right, let's make a directory. Copilot experiments. It's kind of nerve-wracking giving it access to everything. Do I trust the files? Oh, it still wants to trust. Oh, I got a CD into it. Okay, CD, Copilot experiments. All right. And then Copilot. Do I trust the files in that folder? Yes. Okay. All right. Check where I installed the Copilot SDK. I want to upgrade it. All right, this is very meta. We're using Copilot CLI in order to upgrade the Copilot CLI. Let's see. Oh, it's trying to do which GH. No, we don't care about which GH. We care about Copilot. Do you want to run this command? Sure. I don't care. npm list. I run this command. Check for Python packages. No. You know what I should do is give it access to these docs. Then it would be able to do it better. All right. And oh, it did find. So I must have done it with npm before. That's the issue. Okay. Yes. All right. How do I? Okay, I'm gonna like escape out of this. Okay, I'm canceling, and then I'm gonna say read the docs as it will give you info on installation. All right. Model call failed. Great. I did hear there were some issues on insiders today with prompt too long error. I don't know what model it's using. Of course, this is the old version of the CLI. All right, so it looks like I did use npm before. So let's just try the npm technique and see if that will override what's in my path, right? Because I think right now, okay, it exists. All right, we are going to overwrite files recklessly. Ready for this? Let's overwrite those files recklessly. Recommended. Okay, added 2 packages. All right, let's try it again. All right, there we go. GitHub Copilot 0.0395. Pick a model with /model. Delegate changes when they using delegate. Enter question mark. See all commands. Staff mode activated. Now, presumably staff mode is only for those of us at Microsoft, or I'm also now technically at GitHub. I'm at Microsoft and GitHub somehow. I don't know, something like that. I work for everyone. I work for the world. So we're going to confirm the folder trust again. All right, and now you can see we're using Opus 4.5, which is my favorite model, even though it has the 3x multiplier, but that makes sense because it is like the best model in the universe. So we're going to stick with Opus 4.5, and great. So now this is working. So now what do we do with it? Okay. So now we can just use this the same way we'd use VS Code, right? Now this is a fresh directory. So now that I've got this working, I'm going to move into an existing repo, right? This one, our rag repo. And this is where I'm, using Copilot in VS Code most of the time. So I'm going to trust and remember this for future sessions. All right. Now, something I heard is cool is there's just like /review. Let's just see what I just saw this tweeted about /review. I don't know what it's going to review my code changes. I was thinking it would review a PR, but okay, it's reviewing whatever the current code is. I heard that with /review, you could actually ask like 5 different models to review it, which I thought that was kind of nice, is to be able to have a bunch of models give an opinion. So let's, what I want to do is actually check out a branch that I would like a very thorough review on, because this one is a really big change. This particular change here is not that exciting, although I realize this change is incorrect. So I wonder if it'll catch the fact that it's not a good change. So what is it? All right. So it's doing a web search. So this looks like the tool calls, right? So we can see when it does a tool call, and it's doing a little research here, and it's trying to look at the issue that this PR is fixing. All right. And I'm going to say approve all URLs from API to github.com permanently. Okay. Do I want to run this command? Curl. And I guess I'll just I'll just say yes. The hardest thing is deciding what things to approve. Like something like fetching information from API to github.com, sure, you can approve that forever. But approving all Python commands and all curl commands, especially all Python commands, you can do anything with Python. You can delete your entire operating system with Python. So, you know, when it comes to the Python commands, usually I will just, you know, approve them one at a time. But that's what's really hard about approval, right? And then eventually I get tired of approving and then I just say, ah, screw it. Just approve all the commands forever, right? And then of course I have no security. So I think we still haven't figured out, you know, it's one of those hard computer science problems. How can you look at some code and know if it's dangerous code, if it's risky code? And, you know, it's hard. Okay, so it says one issue found. The revert removes a workaround that is still not fixed upstream. It figured it out. Yeah, so I realized somebody had commented on a previous issue saying I could revert this change, but then I researched it and I was like, oh, wait, no, I actually can't. So somebody had given me bad information and I made this PR based off that bad information. And luckily, Copilot did the same investigation that I did. They went to the upstream issue. They saw it still wasn't fixed. And this is exactly correct. So that's really good. So that's a really good review. Now, normally, you know, I could also do the same review. Like, let's assign the same review in this, in the actual UI, right? And presumably it'll come up with the same conclusion, but we can do a little comparison and see. All right, so that's cool. Now, so how do I check out a branch, right? I guess I'll just tell it to check out the branch. Check out branch. I guess the other thing is usually I will like start up a new session when I'm doing something different. And I'll figure out how to like start a new session. Do I want to run this command? I'll approve that going forward. Okay. Oh, it wants to pull the latest changes. Sure. I'll approve that. It's just a lot of approving. Okay. All right. Now I want to try. Now, where can we review? Can I do like, how do I get help on things? Or help? Help? Help. Okay. All right. Review. Run code review. Prompt. But how do we, all right, so we're going to look up, try to figure out how to do it. So the person to follow on Twitter is, I think it's Eric Boyle. Here, if we go, I'm sure we'll find, my feed right now is like very much Evan Boyle. Okay, great. So if you're curious about the Copilot CLI, then you should follow Evan Boyle. And he often will send messages about anything that is new. Okay, so we can find like fun things /diff, run shell commands into parallel, skills as / commands, ask user question. Okay, review command, review your code with multiple. This is the thing I wanted to see. So how do we do it with multiple models in parallel? This is what I want to know. Review my code with Opus. Oh, so we just tell it. We literally just tell it. Okay. Okay. So Opus 5.0 Codex and Gemini. Okay. All right. So let's try it. Review my code with Opus, Gemini, and 5.2 Codex. All right. So let's check that out. Hello, Alejandro. Welcome, welcome. All right, so currently, so what we can see is that it queued up 3 code reviews. So it's doing like a background agent. Okay, interesting. So this is like a sub agent, which is something I haven't really used in VS Code much, but is a functionality in VS Code where you can have like these sub agents. So this is like a code review sub agent, and it's got an ID. And now I guess it's basically like queuing. It's running those sub agents in parallel, and it looks like it's basically pinging them for progress, right? To check and see if it's done. Okay, I'm just gonna approve things. Now I'm gonna have to approve commands across 3 different agents running in parallel. So I'm gonna be a little more, you know, flexible, a little more willing to approve things. All right, so it's taking a look at that diff and just doing lots of reviews. Now, the thing is, I don't know if these updates here are kind of like coming in and we're just seeing updates from all of them at once, or if we're seeing updates from just one of them. I don't know exactly, you know, it doesn't say which agent this is coming from. That's a good question. Let me take some screenshots so we can ask Evan afterwards. You know, how this CI works. Oh, shift tab, cycle mode, Ctrl+D enqueue. We can enqueue something. So this is a big request that people always have for VS Code Copilot is queuing up. Run this check, sure. So shift tab, what is shift tab cycle mode? Oh, okay. Okay, now you're in plan mode. Okay, so that just goes, cycle mode just goes between plan and agent. So I guess they only have 2 modes in the Copilot CLI. One is plan, the other is agent. And that makes sense because honestly, I, you know, never use the edit mode anymore or the ask mode. You know, plan versus agent are really the 2 significant things right now. Let's see. And then Ctrl+D is enqueue. Let's check that out. What happens if I do Ctrl+D? Ctrl+D. Maybe I have to have typed something like, summarize the reviews across the agents. And then can I press Ctrl+D and queue it? Okay. Oh, that's cool. Okay. So I typed a prompt, then I said Ctrl+G, and you can see now it is queued up. Okay. All right. So then presumably after it does the reviews, then it's going to summarize the reviews across all of them. And we can see, so it says it's waiting and like running in parallel, but it kind of looks like it's running sequentially, right? So this will be another question for Evan. Is it truly running in parallel, or is it actually running sequentially? Yeah, and it's still got 2 more reviews to go. All right, so while it's doing that, I guess I kind of have to, this is the issue, is that since it has to ask for approval, I'm going to just put it over here so we can see if approval pops up. And then we'll go over here and just see what other commands there are. Where are the commands? Oh, there's the official documentation. Let me also paste this in here so you can check out that. And then we've got the official documentation about GitHub's Copilot CLI. So we can do the things we would normally do. We can use the GitHub MCP server. All right, you know, anything we can do via GitHub. And then we can customize it, you know, with agents.md, custom instructions, MCP, custom agents. Let me see how to use custom agents because I already do have custom agents. So using custom agents. Custom agents are specialized versions. And when creating your own custom agents, Copilot CLI supports loading custom agents from the following locations. So we have copilot.agents directory, github.agents directory in the local and remote repositories, and then an agents directory in the GitHub private repository in an organization interface. Interesting. So if you have an organization and you are using the same agents across multiple repos, then you can actually make a repo specifically for storing those agents. So that's quite helpful, I'd say. So let's see. So I should have a github.agents in here. GitHub/agents. Yeah, I've got the fixer agent, which fixes open issues on GitHub, and then the triagger agent, which looks for stale issues and tries to close them. So it should have access to those agents. Let's see, and it's 2 reviews completing, waiting for GB 5.2. That's always like the slowest one, isn't it? So new custom agents can be used in 3 ways. The / command. So let's try out that one. Calling out to the custom agent in a prompt, or specifying the custom agent with the command line option. Okay. Okay, cool. So I think the next thing we should do is try to use the custom agent. And then there's and then there's also MCP servers. That's pretty fun. So you already have the GitHub MCP server when you have this, so that makes sense. And then you can add more, like the Playwright MCP server. The Microsoft Docs MCP server is a really good one. We should probably add that one. And okay, and then you can check your usage, you can check your context, and you can compact. So you can tell it when you want to compact your conversation history. It will automatically compress when you're getting to 95% of the token limit, that's a good idea. If you have less than 20%, a warning will be shown. All right, cool. Okay, so we're still, I wonder if I could pretty much run, I feel like I could just run in another terminal, as long as I'm not doing conflicting changes, right? So let me do Copilot over here now as well. And while we're waiting for that one. So now if I do /, it says that I should see my custom agents here. So let's see. We can see all these things. / I don't see, oh, it says browse and select from available agents. Okay. All right, actually, first let's do an MCP add. And unique name, Microsoft Learn. And then how do we do this? It's going to be a nope. How do I press enter? Oh, okay. Tab, shift tab, navigate fields. All right. Oops. Oh, wow. I'm not very good at this. Okay. Shift, nope. Okay. Tab. And then we're going to say it is a HTTP server. And then we need to tab to the next one and get the URL. So let me find the URL for the MCP list servers. Okay, Microsoft Docs, that one. Start configures. Let's just get the information about how to configure that Microsoft Learn MCP server. Because I wanted to have access to that so that it's smarter when it does stuff. Okay. All right, that's it. There's the URL. So we're going to put in that URL. And we should not need any header. This is a publicly available server. And we'll just give it access to all tools. It only has like 2 tools anyway. Okay. All right. And then it says Ctrl+S save server. Control. Okay, maybe I have to tab. Okay. Tab. Ctrl+S. Nope. Okay. Escape. Okay. We'll try it again. Tab. HTTP. Tab. Remote server URL. Tab. Nothing. Tab. Star. And then Ctrl+S save server. Maybe it doesn't work with Mac. I'm sorry, I'm pressing Ctrl+S and nothing is happening. All right. So that is not working. Unless I just really stuck at this. Maybe I'll try Command+S. Command+S? Nope. Oh, that just saved the terminal. Okay. All right, let's just check if there's like a known issue on that. Oh man. Okay, now that I'm part of GitHub, it wants me to sign into GitHub. All right. Yay. Okay. All right. So we're going to not add the MCP server since that is not working for me. Okay. All right. So we have it open. Let's go check over here. It still wants to run commands. It's still doing a review. All right. So over here, I'm going to try the agent. And we can see it can do default, which is just the agentic mode. And then these are my 2 custom agents, Fixer and Triagger. So we'll try Triagger, and I'll say find one stale issue to close. All right. So I can show you the command for that over here. So this is the triagger agent, and it has access to all these built-in tools as well as the GitHub MCP server. And it should, in theory, have access to the Microsoft Learn server, but we weren't able to set that up. So we probably won't be able to use that, unfortunately. I wonder if it gets the same prefix. Okay, that's another question I have. I'm going to have so many questions for Evan after this. All right. So you can see that what it does is it says to search for stale issues, examine each issue, search docs, and then recommend which issues to close. So it found one, and it says hash conflict and okay. Yeah, I've only seen this issue once. And okay, suggested closing this hash was reported and the infrastructure have undergone the current. Okay, yeah, that sounds good. So it's yes, please reply and close. Okay, so it's going to go and close it. We can go ahead and look at the issue and see that it should be closing it shortly. And let's see if it's doing it. Okay, interesting. I don't have, oh, it doesn't have the capability to close issues or add comments through my available GitHub tools. Well, that's weird because my agent does have access to do it. All right, so we have another question for Evan, which is, I've given this agent specific access to the ability to close issues, but it seems like the agents are not paying attention to the allowed tools here, and they're using kind of their own tools. So that's not so good. So I will ask about that as well. Okay, interesting. There must be some sort of configuration where you can so there's something I need to understand about how to work through that. All right, so it is still, okay, great. All right, it finished the code review. Ooh, this is fun. Okay. All right, 2 reviews completed. Here's the completed reviews. Claude Opus, incorrect variable for ACL feature flag. So we're going back and forth about the mvars, so I'm not surprised that there's some question about that. I see. Yeah, this is probably correct. Okay. And then Gemini code review, performance risk from repeated client instantiation. That could be a good point as well. I like it. Just some performance tip here. File owner excluded. I think we did this on purpose, but I will check that with my other maintainer. GPT 5.2 codex review is still running. Okay, GPT 5.2 codex is too slow, so we're just not going to use it. But this is really cool here. I wish I could do this in the GitHub Copilot interface too, is assigned to multiple models, because they both Gemini and Opus came up with legitimate things, and I'd rather have more feedback than less feedback when it comes to critical PRs like this. So now after this, I can go and take action on these. All right. So yeah, John says the CLI has its own tools, not the same as VS Code tools. Yeah, I think, I mean, you're right. It seems to, but if I feel like I think we need a resolution for that, because I'm going to be, a lot of developers are using the same repo across both VS Code and CLI. And ideally, if I'm able to use this agent.md in VS Code, I should be able to use that same agent.md in Copilot CLI and actually take advantage of this, of it knowing, I whitelisted these tools for a reason. I was very, very specific with this list of tools. So I really wanted to be able to, pay attention to those tools. Okay. All right. So we've used the CLI for, the first half of this. So now I think it's time to move to the SDK. So the Copilot SDK, here we go. It wraps on top of the CLI, and we have a Python SDK. So we can just go, let me go over to the repo, and I'm going to check out main. And then let me do this over here, git status. Okay, let me just pip install it without adding it to my requirements. So I'm just going to do a pip install of the SDK. Here we go. Here's our SDK. Let's just make a new branch for this. SDK experiments. All right. Okay, so let's see. We have the Copilot CLI, so that should be good. We have our preferred SDK, and then it says see the SDK README for usage examples. Okay. I guess this is the README. Yeah, it is the README. So here we have the README for Python and PR agent managing local files. Okay. All right. I just want the most basic example. My colleague shared an example. So let me find his example. All right. All right, let's go ahead and try. Oh, okay. Well, John says that the PR visualization example is cool. Okay. It'll just depress me because some of the PRs are really old. Let's try it. No, it's a good idea. Okay, so let's see. Let's take this recipe here and make a new file. PR visualization, and we'll just put it at the root. I feel like people are going to be like adding, I guess we'll add it to like our scripts folder, right? This is like a scripts. I think people are going to be adding, like Python scripts to their repos that are like automating things that they do like a lot. So kind of like adding skills and stuff like that. Okay. So let's see. These are all just type checking issues. This is a problem with having good type checking, is that it has a high bar, but it should all work. So let's try this. So we're going to run this example here, Python PR visualization.py. Okay. PR visualization.py. Oh, John says he fixed it. John, if you fix those typing errors, you should submit a PR. Have you submitted a PR? Okay, you sent it to me on Teams. All right. Wait, how we already have a bug? Okay. All right. John sent me the good stuff. All right, let's use John's version. And then, John, you should send this in a PR if you haven't already. Okay. So going back, that's working much better. Okay. All right, John, this version is so much better. Send a PR for it. You got to always make the world a little bit better. Be the change you want to be in the world. Look at this. There's no squigglies. And I also didn't get this. This looks like a legitimate issue. So what did you change yours to? Copilot client. Oh, they changed it from taking direct options directly to taking an options class. Okay. So yeah, so definitely that code needs an update. All right, so it is starting analysis. So we can see, okay, so looking at the config here. So we have Copilot options, log level, and then we start a session. We're using Sonnet. We should probably change that to Opus, huh? And then we're saying you are analyzing pull requests for this GitHub repo. Oh, what's the GitHub repo? Is it checking to see where we are right now? Yeah, it is. So, and it's doing it. That's interesting. It is doing it on my fork. I actually would want it to do it on the upstream. So I need to change that to the, I need to just change that to the upstream because it's not going to really find many PRs on my current fork. But okay, so at least it should be faster in this. And then the current working directory, use the GitHub MCP server tools to fetch PR data. use your file to generate charts. All right. And then ask follow-up questions. Okay. And now it hasn't really shown me anything. Is it supposed to show? Okay, so PR Python repo, that'd be good. Let's and generate. Okay, I don't see a chart image unless did it save a chart image locally? I didn't check to see. Oh, it did. Oh, nice. Okay, great. Very cool. All right, so here you can see open age PRs. There's only 3 PRs on my fork. So let's try that with the argument. As John says, you can pass in an argument for the actual repo. So we're going to say repo and as your samples, as your search, open AI demo. All right, so now it's going to be a little fancier. So we can look what it did before. It checked on the PRs and made this cute chart. And then you can do all sorts of follow-up. Okay, so looking again at what it was doing, use the GitHub Copilot, use your file and code execution tools to generate charts, save them to the current working directory, and be concise. So then we get events for when things happen. So here's the thing, is that this Copilot SDK is basically an agent framework, right? So if you use LangChain or Microsoft Agent Framework, Pydantic AI, this Copilot SDK is an SDK for a agentic, for an agent. So we see really like a lot of similarity here, like being able to specify the model and the system message, and getting events to say like what's happening, like tool execution start, assistant message. These are all the kind of events we would get in an agent SDK as well. So we can set up our event handling, and in this case, we're just using it in order to find out, when things are happening. Although I don't really see, did it show any of that before? We didn't see that before, so I wonder if these events if this is up to date or if maybe they've changed their event types, because we didn't see the assistant message or the gear show up. So I kind of wonder if this might be out of date right here. So then we had starting analysis. Okay, fetch the open pull request from the last week. Calculate the age of each PR day. Why would it do from the last week if you're trying to see age over time? That's weird. I don't know what they mean from the last week. Then generate a bar chart image, save it, finally summarize the PR health. All right, so interestingly, it didn't really give me a summary of the PR health. So then here we can see, okay, now we can see, 19. This looks like all the PRs, 19 for, there's about like 36 PRs, 19, 29, 29, yeah. So you can see 19 of them have been open for 180 days. So I really should close some of them, but I'm a bit of a hoarder, right? Now, interesting, why didn't it summarize? So ask follow-up question or type exit and then print. I think it's not showing, I feel like it is not showing the message. So what I'm going to do is say, I'm just going to print all the events here, which might be kind of crazy. Here, let's do all the event types just to see what's happening. TTT. Because I feel like we're not seeing any, like assistant message or tool to execution start. And I think we're missing something because it should be summarizing the PR health. And we're not seeing any of that. Okay, so see here we have pending message, user message, assistant turn start, tool execution start. So also notice that these are like Python enum. So instead of like, this is a bad idea to ever hard code a string literal. It's much better if you can, have the types. So let's make this even a little bit better, and we'll send like a really good PR after. So session event type. And so then I'm going to find the session event type for assistant. Let's see what we got here. Assistant message. Okay. And then does that exist too? Okay, so these look better. Now they might be exactly the same thing. So assistant.message. It does look like the same string. So here, assistant message. So we should have seen an assistant message here. Let me double check what the string was that we were using before. Assistant.message. And this is assistant.message. So why? Maybe there was no, maybe it's the, okay, let's just print out event. Let's just print out the whole event. We should be really doing like breakpoint debugging for this. Under event.data. This is so jank, but we're doing it. Okay. All right. Let's just see. Tool execution start. Now, do we see tool execution start? Yeah, we also see tool execution start. So why? Oh, maybe equal session event type. If it's a literal, the double equal should work for string equality. Okay, maybe it's a key value check. I mean, if you're doing event.type, and that's a session event type is an enum. Oh, session event type is an enum. When you're checking an enum, that's different. Okay, how to check enum equality. It is not a string. I was thinking it was a string literal, but this is an enum. So if it's an enum, then yeah. So now this should work. That's why it wasn't working before, because you would have had to do like check the dot value, right? And then that would have been the string literal check. Okay, so that code is incorrect. All right, so now I actually think it's going to work because we're checking the enum is equal to the enum. I think that's okay. Let's see. I think that's going to work. Let's try this out. All right. Starting analysis. Great. Here we go. Okay, I'll fetch the open PRs, analyze their ages, create a chart, and provide a health summary. Fantastic. So now we can see the tools that are coming in. So report intent. That looks like what it just used. Bash. It's using a bash tool. It might be good. It would be fun to show the arguments here. Like, let's see. Data. What else do we got? Tool names. What else is in there? Tools, tool name, tool call ID. All right, we'll just have to go and inspect this. Okay, data is data. Data has, what else we got here? Tool requests. Could be that. Tool name. Tool telemetry, tools. I wonder if it's under tool request. This is not alphabetized. Okay, there is tool request dot arguments. So would that be, let's try it. Print event.data.tool request tool dot tool requests, and then that will give us arguments. Okay, type none, maybe because it's optional. Okay, if event.data.tool requests print the, okay. All right, so now let's see what we got. Okay, now this is working. All right, so it fetched things. It used bash. I'm guessing it's just using the GitHub CLI, given that it's saying it's using bash instead of an MCP server. Create a Python script. Okay, it ran bash again, which is probably Python. You really need to know more than just bash. Let me fix the JSON escaping issue. The chart has been generated. Here's the chart again. Oh, look at that. That is beautiful. Very good. Love it. That's fun. And then it does a health analysis, 34 open PRs with an alarming average age of 317 days. 85 are stale, 47 ones are critical. There's the Azure oldest PR. All right, okay, I'm getting shamed here. This repository has a severe PR backlog problem. Nearly half the open PRs are open a year old, suggesting they may need to close as stale or require urgent review. The maintenance team should prioritize reviewing or closing ancient PRs. Oh no, I got shamed. Okay. All right. Well, I guess I'm trying to come up with a defense now, but I'm just a hoarder. All right. So cool. So that's working. I do want to figure out toolcar arguments because I think that's going to make it really much more helpful to figure out what is it doing. And I also think it's interesting that I think it's using the GitHub CLI instead of the GitHub MCP server, which makes me wonder why it's preferring to do that. But I also see that in Copilot itself. Oh, and let's change this to using a different model, right? We like Opus. So I assume it'd be like Opus 4.5. Is that going to work? Nope. All right. It says it cannot. What? Why can't we use Opus? That's not cool. Okay. I guess they have really limited. These are the only models we can use. What? Screenshot. Why can't we use any, new things? All right. Okay, apparently we can't change the Opus, so we're not going to do that. But we can try to see arguments. So let me see if that's the way to see arguments. Okay. All right. So this time we're hoping to see some arguments. Oh, John says he tried GPT-5 multiple times and it failed. All right. So let's see. This time. Okay, I'm not seeing arguments. So that is not the right way to get arguments. So how do we get arguments? So there must be some other way of getting arguments. All right, so that's another question for the SDK team as to why we're not getting arguments. All right, so that was PR visualization. Now let's try it with an MCP server because my colleague did give me an example with an SDK, with the MCP server. So let's try this out. Okay, All right, you can see our billion. Okay, well, this so far is not looking so good. Let's see, is it like this? Nope. Copilot client async. So they are using this async thing over here. We are using just Copilot client. So let's just try going back to Copilot client. And then, so why don't we, all right, so let's check. What is the deal with this Copilot async? Is that something that's in this repo? Maybe it's just the preview version. I don't even see it in this repo. Okay. Where did he get it from? Weird. All right, we are going to ditch that. I'll ask him afterwards. Okay. And to clarify, wait, so here, okay. I don't know why he has async because it looks like it is async regardless. All right, so we're gonna do this and then create session. This is really different. Create wait client session config. Maybe we just have two different versions of. Okay, I'm just gonna save this and tell Copilot to upgrade it. So MCP example. Let's see. Upgrade MCP example to use same SDK interface as PR visualization. Oh, so John says they've migrated everything to async only. Yeah, so as John says, we are telling it to follow the working example. That's a great thing to do with VS Code is if you've got one thing working, just tell it to upgrade. So here we go. And we're going to have to change the model because we're not allowed to use that one. So we're going to do Claude Sonnet 4.5. Now it's happy. And this one is using the Work IQ server, which doesn't work yet for me because I have to get added to a special Entra group because of Microsoft things. But I'm just going to, okay, change the local server to the Microsoft Learn MCP server instead. And we're going to point it at this documentation. And that is going to be an HTTP server, in fact. All right, so this is looking good. And we're going to come up with something more interesting, or more relevant to learn for it to do. The remote server unit. Okay, yep, it's going to update the configuration here. And hopefully figure out the right things. MCP server config. And we need, we are getting a check the type errors. We're getting some type check errors here. So I think we've changed something. So I think my colleague is using an older version of the CLI that had the explicit async command. So we're just upgrading to the latest version of the CLI. So it is just going to, this is basically how it always checks to understand how to work something, like from Copilot. So it always checks, like tries to figure out the types, and then it's going to upgrade it. So MCP remote server config. Aha. Nice. It found it. Copilot is really good at looking at the Python package in the local environment and just figuring it out. Okay, great. All right, so we're going to ask the check readme.md and make sure that the information about Azure AI search is correct per the current documentation. So I'm trying to get it to do something that both uses the current repo and which goes out to the Learn MCP. So let's try that example here, MCP example.py. And what we might want to do, so here we're only going to see the final, response. I think we probably want to bring in the same event handling from PR visualization into MCP example, because we like seeing those tool calls. Okay. All right, great. Oh, well, this is incorrect. So now, all right, so it says check readme. I've updated. Oh, it found something wrong already? Okay. What did it find wrong? Oh, interesting. Unfortunately, it is incorrect because this tag has to change with the old name. So we will undo that. All right, let's check. Okay, now what I wanted to do, well, let's check the tool calls because we want to make sure it went out to the MCP server. So now let's run this again and see if it is going out to, okay, so now we see report intent, view web fetch. So web fetch, I'm pretty sure that is from the MCP server, I believe. The product, yeah, well, yep. Oh, interesting. That actually could be real. All right, so another web fetch. I'm pretty sure web fetch is from the MCP server. Let's see, Microsoft Docs. There's a docs fetch. It still doesn't really seem like it's using, we should be seeing Microsoft Code Sample Search, Microsoft Docs Fetch, or Microsoft. So I haven't seen it make any calls. None of these look like calls to the MCP server. Okay, let's see. Do they have any examples that we're actually using an MCP server? Multiple sessions. Okay, that's using, it's claiming it's using GitHub MCP server, but I really feel like it was using the GitHub CLI. Maybe we need to explicitly, okay, use the, what did we call it? Microsoft Learn. Do we give it a name? Microsoft Learn. We give it like a typing tools, timeout, header, tools, type, timeout, URL, headers. Okay. Does it default to all tools? Tools, list of tools. Star means all. So maybe we have to, I wonder if we have to explicitly say we want tools equals star. Let's try that. Okay, so now we have tools, star, type. Oh, we should be looking at remote server config. Where's remote server config? Remote, there we go. Tools, star, type, HTTP, timeout, doesn't matter, URL, headers, we shouldn't need headers. Okay. All right, let's see. Use the Microsoft Learn MCP server for documentation lookup. Okay, so let's try that again. And I really want to see it make a call to the Microsoft Learn MCP server. When in doubt, wildcard out. Yeah, it's weird because like tools, like, I don't know. I feel like the default would be allow all tools, but I do also appreciate from a security perspective that you have to explicitly opt into all tools. But it is weird that you have a list of one element and that one element indicates you want all the elements, but elephants. But you know, whatever. The important thing is just to document so that you know. But it is weird. Like in most other environments, by default, it's like other agent frameworks. By default, you get all the tools, right? Okay, so now let's see. Aha, look at this. There we go. Microsoft Learn. So it prefixes it. Here we go. This is really helpful. It prefixes it with the MCP server name here. And then this is the actual tool name, right? Like if you looked locally, you know, when I was looking at it here, Microsoft Docs search, it's this one, right? And then, yeah, so it did a search, it found the information. Okay, great. So I think the issue was that, you know, just that we hadn't done this here. Let me just do one more double check. If we remove that explicit instruction, because I want to confirm the issue was that we didn't have tools equals star, because that's really important to know that that's required if that is indeed required. So let's make sure that it is, there we go. Okay, so that is the issue. When you're setting up the tools, currently you have to explicitly opt into the tools. Otherwise, you will get no tools at all. All right, so now it did a tiny little fix here. And basic tier 1 workload includes 1,000 free semantic requests. Okay. All right, so it fixed something there. I'll check that with the search team. Okay. Cool. So that's good. Now, the thing I want to see is how, once again, remember my agent, right? Like, can I get it to do the issue triagger agent? So I'm going to maybe like CP this one into another example and say triagger.py, because I really wanted to use the triagger agent. The question is whether, you know, is there agent.md? I'm trying to see if there's a specific, like, can we just point it at, of course, we're finding their agents.md. Can we point it at a, okay, is there, we're just going to ask Copilot on this. Is there a specific way to point the Copilot client at a custom agent in the repo? Okay, doing a little search here. I always like using Copilot to learn more about Copilot. Okay, it's done at session creation time. Accept a session config that includes custom agents. Okay, great. So we're going to say custom agents, create session, custom agents. But can I just point it at it? All right, let's see. Can I just point it at an existing agent.md file? Try again. Let's see. Well, we broke its brain. No worries. Let's try it out. All right, so scripts, triagger. So this time, session config. Let's take a look at this session config. And what do we got here? Session ID, model, tools, available tools, excluded tools, providers, streaming, MCP servants. Okay, this is what we want. Skill directories, disabled skills, infinite sessions. All right, let's take a look at this custom agent config. Name, display name, tools, MCP servers. This feels like I would just be recreating what I already have. Ugh. I guess I can do a file open. All right. Not a big fan of that, but okay. All right. Session config, custom agents. All right. I'm just going to say add a custom agents config to session config that sets up an agent based off of triagger.agent.md using file open. But then I have to parse the Jinja file. There's got to be a better way to just point it at an existing agent. All right, let me take another screenshot so we remember more questions for the SDK team. All right, so it's finding the agent, it's reading the file. The thing is, like, this file has a lot more in it than just the system prompt because it has the YAML at the top. If you look all the way up here, right? Like, the system prompt should really just be this part of it. But, you know, it'll probably be okay. Like, you know, you can stuff nonsense into something. Name and prompt, custom agents is a list. Okay, custom agents. Okay, but the agent.md file has tools in it as well. Shouldn't that be extracted out? The triagger.agent.md. This is certainly too much work, so there must be a better way of doing this. Yeah, I'd ignore the tools. So custom agent config, we're going to this again. It takes a name, display name. These are all things that are in the file. So it feels like there's got to be like a factory method or something that can just say, hey, here's the file, and make the agent based off a file. Look at this. Now we've got like YAML. Well, I'm sure I'll find out soon that there's a better way of doing this. But okay, so now we have description, tools, prompt. Now, the thing I don't know is, like, are these tools even in a format that they'll understand? Because here we're using this like GitHub names, like the namespacing that VS Code understands with like Azure MCP and GitHub. And I'm guessing that's not in the format that, you know, that they expect. Are the tools prefixed in a way that GitHub Copilot CLI expects? I don't think it's going to really know that, but all right. John says there's an MCP field. That's a good point. There is an MCP field, isn't there? MCP servers. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. All right. Actually, the config accepts MCP servers. Is that what it was? MCP server, MCP servers parameter. So I think we add them there with the right namespace. Oh, but you know, the other issue though is that in here we use a slash, but the GitHub Copilot CLI doesn't use a slash. So yeah, it's gonna transform. I think it's going to do the transformation though. It could do that itself in Python. Obviously, this is like way too much effort, right? Let's see if it did it with the tools. Do we need to map /2_. Let's see. Okay, John said add the tools up there and add MCP to give the MCP server source. Yeah, so we do GitHub, but I remember that the CLI, when it showed the tool name, it was doing like GitHub _ and like, you know, Microsoft _ versus this one, the /. So I think here when it does the tools, yeah, it has to replace the / with the _. I think this is what it seems like. But we'll see. So we say MCP servers. Or maybe it won't matter if we're only doing, what do we say, tools? Tools. Yeah, the question is, how is the tools question? How do these need to be namespaced for MCP servers? Okay. Okay, let's test. All right, now we are going to try this out. Fingers crossed. Oh, John says to do tools equal. All right, yeah, we can just do that. Maybe we should just do that. Tools equals, is that going to give? Okay, the question is whether we should do this. Tools equals that. Is that going to be all tools from all the MCP servers? Oh, or you mean here? Oh, we got to do it from here. Oh, thank you. Yeah. We got to do it here. You are correct. We already learned that lesson. I think everyone's going to mess that up over and over and over because I haven't seen that in any of the other agent frameworks. I'm going to run Copilot over the transcript of this live stream later and like use it to generate all the feedback for the Copilot team. All right, so what is it doing here? So currently we're only seeing built-in. So I think it's not. Oh, wait, it has a, okay, no, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, no, I wanted to just find a stale issue to triage. Prompt. Custom agents. Where do we do the prompt? Prompt. Copilot, custom agents, and message option prompt. All right. Okay, there we go. All right. Find a stale issue to triage. Let's see if it uses either any of these servers. Triagger. Okay. It says it's using, oh, wait, look, it said it'll use the triagger agent. So we didn't, oh, okay. So it sees that it has to use a triagger agent. Maybe we didn't have to configure. No, okay. Yeah, it's using the triagger agent. And I think that came from here and not from the repo itself. We could try disabling the custom agent entirely and see if it'll use a triagger agent. That's another thing to try. Okay, it is not using any of the MCP tools. Look at this, view. What is view? Okay, it's using GitHub CLI. It's not using, it's like a lot of view. We really got to figure out how to get those tool call arguments. Like, what is this view? The stalebot workflow. View. All right, let's try. What if we just do tools equals star on here too? Suggested closing reply. And is it actually going to do it? Now let me use the GitHub CLI. And then it just closed the whole thing. Okay. Add an input loop to triagger.py so I can communicate with the agent. Check. PR example. You have to really want to, it has to be worth it to use the, the SDK if you're going to be doing like an iterative agentic flow, because you have to re-implement, talking in a loop with your agent, right? Now, luckily, we can just keep on following our example, and that's okay. I'll get rid of the examples. Okay, keep. All right, so hopefully that works. And then yeah, we're really trying to get it to use the MCP servers. John says, did I provide a repo? The repo is already in here. I baked it into this one. So find the specified number in the Azure sample. Yeah. So it should know from that system prompt if it's using a triagger agent, right? So we can see report intent, triagger. The thing that's interesting. Okay, I see a blank message. Bash, 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 bash. MCP servers. GitHub MCP servers. It's just, who needs a GitHub MCP server when you've got bash, right? Why is it not? It should be able to. Maybe it just doesn't want to use the GitHub MCP server, and it doesn't want to use the Microsoft MCP server because it may not need to use this server for anything. Yeah, so John asked, did I provide the GitHub MCP server config? I did in here in the custom agent config, right? But it's just not wanting to use it. See, we get these like blank messages. There's something happening in these blank messages. We could also try putting these MCP servers at the global level, which I want it. So really what we want, I just want it to exactly mimic. It really seems like there's a disconnect between these agent files and what the Copilot CLI expects. So I think I need to dig into this with the, with the Copilot team and figure out, why there's this disconnect and what is the strategy to reusing this whole thing across the CLI and the SDK. Because I basically would have to rewrite all of this from scratch, which I don't want to do. Like, I just want to use what we're already using. Now, if you're not trying to reuse, agents, then, then that's fine. But I was looking to basically like automate things that I sometimes use agents for, right? So like sometimes I might use the agent in here, like go here and do triagger. And then sometimes I might actually run a whole command and do it here. But right now, okay, would you like me to post this closing comment? Let's see if this has access to post the closing comment, right? Because before we weren't able to do it with the CLI. All right, so why it's obsolete? Using claims, using general knowledge, comprehensive evaluation, model upgrade, enhanced prompts. Let's see what they reply. Thank you for reporting. I'm claiming this kind of evaluation framework, model upgrades. To be fair, it's hard to close an issue about RAG going off script because it still can happen sometimes. Review the customization guide. Okay, I'm going to say modify the reply to emphasize that GPT-5 in particular is much better at sticking to the sources. I'm going to give it a blog post link. Pamela Fox, GPT-5, will it rag? And here we go. Point them to. All right. Let's see if it's going to actually be able to close this. All right. So now added emphasis. Here's the updated closing reply. The key changes. Where is the updated closing reply? Show me the full closing reply. I don't see it in your comment. Was it this blank one here? Oh no, what is this? Okay. Here's the complete closing reply. there is something happening. We are like getting there. Maybe there's a different type of content that's coming through, right? Because here we're seeing event.data.content and it's just empty. So what else could be in this data? It's not content. It's something. There's message. Is it message? There's content, source, message ID. Okay, so there's something. Let me just take another screenshot here. Okay, this is another issue, is that we are getting blank messages here, and maybe it's because we should be using message. Maybe there's something else we should be using, but basically I'm not seeing it. So there's some sort of special way. It's a different attribute. Okay, post it. All right, I'm just gonna tell it to post it. I don't know what it is. We're just gonna post it and see. Okay, great. Listen, the good news is, this is early days, right? So it's best to find these issues now. And that's my job, right? Is to try stuff out, find issues, report it, so that then by the time other developers try it, it is working. So now the interesting thing is that it did manage to post a reply. So this CLI had more access to using write tools than the Copilot. And I don't know why that is. Because remember with the Copilot, okay. Great. Looks good. Looks good. So, all right. There we go. Your issue is resolved. It looks good. That's what I hope for. It was just it would have been nice to see that before it got posted. And maybe it like showed it in like a markdown block or something like that, right? Okay. All right. So I've been streaming for almost an hour and a half now. So I think we've seen quite a bit about the CLI. Let me go ahead and post these into a branch so that anyone can check them out. And then John, I'll chat with you about how we get these changes back into the CLI repo or the SDK repo. Okay, let me just we don't need to. Okay, we're just gonna add these. Add GitHub Copilot SDK examples. Here we go. I gotta run rough on these. Rough. All right, push. And here we go. I need it. Okay. All right. I'm not going to make a PR since that's just going to add to my open PRs. And we've already determined that I have too many open PRs, but that is the branch. So you can check out those there. They all work with the current version of the SDK. And I will be following up with the GitHub Copilot teams to figure out all the different things we ran into. All right. So that is pretty good for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And thank you, as always, John, for all your help. It's always helpful when you use these things a bit before and join on the stream. And yeah, everyone just keep playing with this. I mean, obviously, this sort of thing is the future. I think we're all realizing we're moving towards agentic coding as the default because it's just oftentimes more efficient. And we're just figuring out how we can make it work for us so that we're not feeling like it's, something painful to use, right? So I think, we're finding ways to add automation. So I think with the GitHub Copilot CLI and the SDK, that's probably what we're going to be using for doing kind of DevOps scripts, developer automation, like little things that we do a lot that we want to make easier to do. It's just the easiest way. We don't have to deploy anything for it. Like, we don't have to deploy a model for it because it's just using our GitHub Copilot SDK, models. So it's a lower barrier to making agents, right? So if all we're doing is making an agent that helps our developer workflow, this is basically an agent framework similar to LangChain or Microsoft Agent Framework, but it is easier to get started with because it's got the models built in. So I think will be like the use case for this, is like how, like, lowering the barrier to creating these agents that automate our developer processes. So be thinking about what processes you want to automate and how it might be useful to, stick some scripts in your repos that people can run that's going to do something, some common task that is helpful. All right, so now we've got GitHub Agents, we got GitHub Skills, we got agents.md, we've got scripts that use the SDK. We've got so many different ways that we can add automation to our repos. All right, so thank you everyone for joining today. And I do have my office hours tomorrow, which we can chat more about this, and maybe I'll have some updates tomorrow. So do come to the office hours tomorrow if you want to chat some more about Python and AI. All right, bye everyone.